Toronto real estate sees an abnormal 860% change in price. Yeah, you heard me right, 860%. We have a historic range of a price drop in the latest numbers, and I'm going to be breaking all of that down for you in this week's video. Now, if you are looking for some proper guidance on how to navigate this wild real estate market with that 860% price come off, yeah, you can book a call with me using the link right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Simply click on the date and the time that works best for you. And then when you see the prompt, fill in your name, email, mobile phone number, and the question you have for me, and then we'll chat then. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. My name is Zhen, and I run and operate a RE/MAX in the greater Toronto area, on top of making awesome educational real estate content just like this for you. And if you find any of these videos helpful in your real estate journey, do me a solid and smash the like button and subscribe to the Prime Properties channel. And on to this week's episode of 860% price drop. Yeah, you heard me right. That is nuts, okay? So just have a look at the numbers here. So we're looking at an average price drop of 3.89%, which doesn't seem like a big amount, but it really is. This is the highest price drop ever in the month of November historically. Have a look at this chart over here. You can see that historically we get like, minus 0.5% drop. We're at 3.89 drop off, which is about 8.6 times or 860% change from the normal average. And when I rearrange this chart here for show you, it shows you how big of a massive drop this is in the average price. So can this be some cause for concern in the coming months? Yeah, it very much could be. But this will make a little bit more sense as I talk more about the other side of the numbers of what's happening, right? So back to the first chart here, you can see the sales are down 8%, which is pretty normal, right? The months of inventory is down a tiny smidgen and it's below 4 again. And this has more to do with the fact that active listings are down than more so the sales going up, right? Because seasonally speaking, active listings do go down right now, but I'll talk more about that a little bit later. So you can see like in this chart here, the months of inventory went down, which again is bullish for pricing, but at the same time, it's down historically for pricing right now. So let me explain to you why this is. When you combine the sellers delisting their properties, which again, like I said earlier, is the very normal thing to do this year. And you can see this phenomenon in this chart over here in the last 5 years. People just delist the properties, which ultimately brings down the months of inventory because the number of active listings goes down. Now, the rate at which we lost inventory, as you can see in this chart, it's actually, pretty normal. Like it's actually right in the middle of the pack. We're down like 14% from last month, which is right in the middle of the pack historically for November. So nothing weird about that. So after showing all of you that, what I will say to conclude why we saw such a big price drop is that the price drop or the people who actually sold were from sellers who needed to sell, not from sellers who wanted to sell. And those who wanted to sell and didn't get their price, they're delisting their properties right now. So keep that in mind. Because right now, the number of sales we have is still really low, like 15-year low. So when you have very little sales and they're all pretty low because people have to sell, it skews the average down quite a bit. So as you can basically see, we have very, very low sales. Sellers who don't need to sell are delisting, which brings down the months of inventory and the active listings. And the ones that do need to sell, taking less money because they need to sell. This is what's driving that big price movement downwards from the month to month, making it historically bad November. Remember, like I said, you'll likely get a good deal when there's peak fear. November, I would say, is a pretty high fear month for the fact that the market in the fall is guaranteed to be soft after seeing 2 months of softness. There's no more hope anymore for these sellers, so they just liquidated, right? And those who needed to sell couldn't hold out anymore, right? And as for prices, you can see in this chart, using this format, it really doesn't move the needle too much because the gray line touches the orange line, meaning that the price for 2022, last year, and 2023 are basically the same thing, right? Or what we call Sally, same as last year, right? And both of them are still under the blue line, which is the 2021 line. So in short, we've effectively given back all the gains we had in 2023 from the spring. Now, as for months of inventory, we dropped a bit and we went below 4, again, which is nice, but I would say this is kind of the same. It doesn't move the needle too much. The good thing is, unlike last year in 2022 November, it isn't going up into the new year, which was abnormal. And I'll just touch on the Toronto condo inventory right now. It's not great. It's pretty stable, but it's still above 5, making it a technical balance market. But if you're trading out there, it definitely feels like a buyer's market right now. As for sales, you can see here, we're basically in line with where we were in 2022 in the second half, right? So we had a peak spring in 2023, then we had that craziness in 2022, but the latter half of both those years, sales came down. Now, the decline in sales as a percentage is also normal, right? So the nominal amount of sales is abnormal, right? Like the total amount, but the percentage is normal. And moving on to the historical charts, you can see over here, active listings historically puts us pretty high, right? Puts us right in the GFC range, Great Financial Crisis, well above the 10-year norm, which is why we're having pricing pressure right now, like going downwards. And just like interest rates, given how high they are right now, the inventory, right? We should technically be seeing higher price drops, but we're not for some reason, right? Now, as for sales, historically low, 15-year low, not quite as bad as September and October where we were like 2-decade plus low. But again, it's still low. And that's only because November 2008 was one of the worst months ever for like the number of sales. And yeah, without that, it would be historically low, just like the last 2 months. And this is why I was always saying, with active listings so high, rates so high, and sales so low, you would think prices should be going down more than what they are right now. It is a little bit strange if you ask me. And finally, new listings, we're slightly above the historic norm, which again, I would say nothing to see here. Just, ignore this stat, which is pretty normal. And that's it. And hopefully this gives you an idea of what's really happening in the real estate market. I'll summarize it like this. I would say we're still chopping sideways. The price drop this month is incredibly high, historically speaking, but it kind of just brought us back aligned with where we were prices last year. So any gains we had in this year from the peak frenzy of like the spring market, essentially all wiped out, all gone. But the inventory level at this rate continues to tell me that we should be seeing more pricing pressure downwards because there's just a lot of stuff to choose from, even though people will be delisting their property very soon, even like at a quicker rate. That's a wrap. And if you are looking for some guidance on how to navigate the real estate market in 2024, because a lot of people are calling me about making like real estate choices in 2024, whether they're buying or selling, you could do so by booking a call with me using the link right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya. Now that I'm done watching this video, I think you should check out this video. And you know what? Why don't you check out this video too?